Now then, our special guest for the morning, it's Glenn Tilbrook. Welcome back, sir. Nice to see you. Now, always a special treat for me to have Glenn here. It's the first ever single, he's probably tired of me saying this, the first ever single I bought way back in 1979. It was the Squeeze tune Call for Cats in pink vinyl, no less. Since then, Squeeze has split and reformed a couple of times. Last time you were here, I think you were about to go on tour with the Fluffers, which is
that's
one
right,
of your other
I've
bands.
still got the Fluffers going, that's all good. Squeeze is back as a happy entity. Chris and I are getting on after years of near warfare and, you know, sort of knife fights in streets. No, not at all. You know, it's really good to be there. I've been solo touring.
I was going to say solo. So where does the Fluffers fit into that? There's just another band.
The Fluffers. I've had the Fluffers now for nearly 5 years, and it's a fantastic band. It's a really great band. The album I have at the moment, Pandemonium Ensues, I've done with the Fluffers. We've written it together. It's a proper collaborative band.
So when you go out solo, do you do a mixture of Fluffers stuff, Squeeze stuff, and other stuff?
Anything that pops into my head is what I'll do, yeah. And I like, you know, when I am solo, I have the ability to make it up as I go along, and I really enjoy that.
And Pandemonium Ensues.
Yeah.
God, that's a nightmare to say on daytime telly. And you say that... So did that come out as the Fluffers?
It's Glenn Tilbrook and the Fluffers.
Right.
You know, my calling card.
It features some great names in it, didn't it? Because I know there's a Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis on it.
They are on it, yes.
That's quite cool.
It was an unexpected event. They came along to a show that Squeeze did in LA, and we met them afterwards, and then I think the next day I got a call from Johnny's bloke saying that they'd like to sort of come and hang out for a bit. And now, fortunately, I was mixing my record in Los Angeles, so I was coming back there the week after, so we got to get together. And I couldn't resist the opportunity to say, how about, you know, doing some stuff on my record? And I had the tracks already recorded and everything, but they were gracious enough to, both Johnny and Vanessa Paradis, to come in and sing and narrate on my record. Which is lovely.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
really
great.
is.
They're really sweet people, you know, and I don't know many people that are that famous, you know, and for them to be ordinary people, down to earth, I think is a colossal achievement anyway, you know.
I imagine so, with all the fame, and they were down to earth.
Yeah, just really sweet, nice, ordinary people.
Fantastic, because of course Vanessa Paradis we know over here from Jola Taxi, but her pop career has been huge, internationally.
I mean, the track that we did on the record, we sang together live in the studio, and she has such a great voice. It was just, you know, the aim of the record was to do everything as live as possible. So I said to her, look, I have this song that's, you know, essentially a duet, and if you don't mind, I'd just like us to sing it together. So we stood facing each other singing, and it was very intense and great.
Fantastic. What about, you said Squeeze sort of are back.
Yes.
Will there be new Squeeze material?
Well, Chris Diffin and I are now going to be working on some songs. We're going to get together for a couple of weeks, go away, just me and him, and see what we come up with. You know, it's been over 10 years since we last wrote together, so there's a lot of water under the bridge there. We've gone through various different changes and all that, so I'm really looking forward to doing it.
So there's no... Because I'm fascinated, because it always seems that you were such great mates to start off with.
Yes.
And it always seems quite sad, you know, from a fan's perspective, to hear about, you know, sort of fallouts and then getting back together.
Yeah. It's so inevitable. It's a cliche, isn't it? Bands fall out and don't get on for a while. I think the interesting thing about my relationship with Chris is that we were friends for about the first 3 years that we met, and then almost as soon as we started making records, we sort of went different ways, as you know, in our friendship. And what we have is a really great deal of professional respect for each other. We liked the songs that we were writing. That's what kept us together. Yeah, it just worked. So.
Well, any excuse. I've got one now for a bit of classic video. Do you remember this? Up the Junction, which came out in lilac vinyl, I remember. Stephen, sorry.
Yeah, over the years, your style has changed and evolved, etc. And I heard, someone told me that you did actually an acoustic set on top of Mount Kilimanjaro. How did that come about?
That was for the Love, Hope, Strength Foundation, which is founded by Mike Peters from The Alarm, who I will go to the ends of the earth for, and quite literally did, on top of Mount...
You walked all the way... How many of you were there?
There were 27 of us. There were a bunch of... Oh, my God. That day, I felt the illest I've ever felt, much like you must have felt yesterday. I had a bit of that, you know, on the way up. We did a trip to the base camp of Everest 2 years ago, for which I trained, and I had an oxygen tent and all that stuff, and I did it properly and found it relatively easy. This time, I think I went into it a bit cocky. I didn't train. Thought, it'd be a bit, you know, easy. Piece of whatever. And it wasn't. It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
I've heard it's an absolute nut breaker.
It was grueling. It was horrible.
Did the altitude affect your head when you were, do you know what I mean, playing?
Yeah, absolutely, it did. There was a time when, you know, you're getting up at 3:30 in the morning, you have to organise your pack, make sure you've got your water, you're sleeping with it by your side because it's freezing. I remember sitting up in the tent, being unable to think straight and not being able to organise my pack. So that day, when you're walking up a hill that's like that, you know, it was just horrific. The most horrific thing I've ever done. Happily, it's in the past now.
Well, hopefully you'll enjoy this slightly more. This is the outline of today's show. After the break,